Well, sorry for the technical bumps, but we'll get this thing going. And as we kick this off here, first thing I want to do is just say thanks for jumping in to this webinar, Master Your Online Platform in 2025, top trends and strategies. So I just say thanks for joining, and you're more than welcome. Please drop any comments you have in the live chat, and feel free to answer any questions you might have along the way. So the first thing I want to do is actually just introduce myself for anybody who does not know me. I'm Dan King. I am the founder, owner of Fist Bump Media. We're a small digital marketing company and WordPress website hosting company. Been around for a little over 13 years now. So we've been doing this stuff for a little while, and along the way, I think that if there's anything big that I learned is that this technology keeps changing all the time. So it's important to stay on top of the trends and what's going on. If we don't kind of catch where things are shifting within this in this world, then we're going to miss a lot of opportunities. And so staying on top of these things is really going to be a big help to helping you kind of reach any goals that you might have about this. I just want to say too that I'm really passionate about helping content producers, small businesses, online entrepreneurs and stuff too, because really that's exactly who I am as well, right? So I started Fist Bump Media really on my experience as a blogger myself. Just realized coming up here pretty soon, my blog has its 18-year birthday. My blog is finally becoming an adult legally. So 18 years I've been blogging now. So it's kind of pretty crazy to think about that. But all of this stuff is stuff that I do, right? And building my own platform, not only as a content producer, a blogger, writer, videos, whatever and stuff too, but also as a small business owner and applying a lot of the same principles to help me reach my audience. In this webinar today, really, I've got two big goals that I want to try to make sure we hit. One is to provide actionable insights to help you grow your online presence in 2025. I want to give you things that you can take away and actually start applying right now today that will help you grow. And I want to show you how you can leverage some trends and strategies to achieve really measurable results. And if you know me, that's one thing that's really big and important to me is not that we're just going, hey, everybody on the internet is saying you need to do this, so do that. I want to actually see results, right? So anything that we do, we should be able to measure and see the impact of some of that, and more on that stuff in a little bit too. But that's kind of where I'm going with this today. So the first thing is, let me jump my screen and get to these slides. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to talk about the state of the digital landscape in 2025. And look at a few trends that are really kind of shaping what the digital world looks like in 2025. And one of the big ones, obviously, every time I turn around, everybody's always asking or talking about AI and how AI is going to impact things. So the first one, obviously, here is the rise of AI in content creation and marketing. So really, there's a few things going on. We see an increased adoption in AI of AI in marketing and sales has more than doubled just in the last year, 2 years, right? Content generation, where there's a lot more AI generated content now on accounts, accounting for 12% of all digital content published globally. Now, 12% is not a big number, but when you think about the amount of content that's published globally, 12%, that's a lot of AI generated content, and I don't see that slowing down really one bit as some of the technologies start to become more accepted. In fact, I can even say in my own personal blog on Blog Post, I'm starting to use AI generated images that I'm creating in Canva using AI technologies and stuff. I found this a great way to stay away from the legal, somebody's got the rights kind of content and images and everything too, right? If I'm not using my own images, as bloggers, we tend to find images a lot somewhere around the net, and always run into that issue of making sure that we're able to use it. AI generated images, it's fresh, it's brand new, it's something that I created using the technology and stuff too. So you start to avoid those things. Efficiency gains, and this is the big one, right? Because as AI powered tools reduce content production time by up to 50%. I see that a lot, and I was having a conversation with somebody recently too. Is that this time reminds me right now of back when I was in high school. I learned to type on a typewriter. But it wasn't too long after that we start seeing the increase in use of computers and word processors and stuff too. And those tools, when you look at like Microsoft Word and Excel and stuff like that have done, it really increased people's efficiency exponentially. And I think we're seeing the same thing too, that there's efficiency gains that can be taken advantage of here, that AI powered tools really help kind of reduce the amount of time that you need to do certain things. So big plus there. And market growth. The global market for AI and marketing is projected to reach 107.5 billion by 2028. So here's the thing: it's not going anywhere because the money is there. It's shown that the money is there. There's a lot of investment in it and stuff too. So it's something that's going to be a part of what happens on the web. And there's some ways that you can leverage the AI to really help you grow and expand your online platform, but we can talk more about that in a bit too. The second trend I want to talk about is the focus on personalized, experience-driven marketing, right? That this applies a lot more to small businesses and online businesses than it does so much like just content producers and stuff like bloggers or wwhatever. But we're seeing a big shift in how personalized certain things can be. If I can hit a website and it remembers my name and it knows the things that I like and stuff too, then it shapes my experience on the site based on that. Then that's a big trend there, right? There's a consumer preference that 79% of customers are more likely to engage with personalized content. So it's important to tailor our marketing efforts. There's a sales impact. Businesses using AI-driven personalization tools observe a 27% boost in sales. But that makes sense, right? If I go to a website, Amazon, for example, and it knows that there are certain things that I look for, and it's going to show me and present me more of that kind of stuff, I'm more likely to spend money on that stuff because I'm more aware of it, right? And data strategy, 61% of marketers consider AI essential to their data strategy, underscoring the role. It's becoming a really, really important part. And so that AI is playing a piece in really personalizing and experience-driven marketing for businesses. The third trend here is the importance of short-form video content for engagement. There's a marketing effectiveness. The short-form videos are proved to be very effective in attracting and engaging customers. There's customer behavior, right? So as more younger generation consumers, especially Gen Z, they use short-form videos on things like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, for product research and discovery, right? So if people are younger people are looking for the stuff that you have, might be a good way to make sure that you're producing the tools that they're using to try to find that kind of stuff. And investment growth. A lot of marketers are investing a lot more into doing this kind of stuff. So again, a big market showing the trend towards investing in that technology. And then the fourth trend I want to take a look at here is the evolution of SEO practices, the search engine optimization practices. It doesn't take long getting on Google, for example, to start to see that it is changing. It's changing quite a bit. The AI piece is a big part of that. But things like voice search, what we call zero-click results. So you go to Google, for example, and you do a search on something, and you get all of the information you need from different sources around the web, but you get all of the information you need without having to leave Google. And Google likes that, right? But the thing is that it pulls that information from other places. So how can we make sure that we're leveraging, great search engine practices that help us to be part of that answer, right? So that we still get that visibility. But voice search adoption is increasing significantly as people start to ask devices in their homes and their phones questions verbally, and that impacts things, right? Because now we're looking at how do we answer questions the way people are asking questions verbally, which might be different than the way they ask questions by typing. Zero-click searches, we just kind of talked about that. Get their answers directly on search results page, so that impacts things. And then AI and SEO. All right, 70% of marketers are employing AI tools for keyword research and SEO strategies. So this is a great way to leverage and use some of the artificial intelligence tools that are out there, is to help you do the research. I think one of the best ways that I've heard AI tools be described is it's probably the best and fastest intern that you've ever had. So if I think about that, and as a small business or even as a content producer, if I have somebody helping me out and I want to say, hey, I need to find out, how I need to approach dealing with a certain question or a certain topic, so that when we write the blog post, I was going to do that. It could take somebody hours to go out there and actually do the research and bring me back a really solid list of information. It takes AI seconds to do that kind of stuff. And that's where we start to see some of those efficiency gains, right? Using AI for that research to help with SEO strategies, things like that too. It can go out and do the research and help you kind of find and craft the strategies that you want to implement and stuff. So a lot of stuff going on there with that. So what does all this mean as far as how it impacts your ability to attract and convert customers? I think one of the big things that we see as a trend through all of this too is don't be afraid of the AI. It might be a good idea to embrace the AI, figure out how you can use it as a tool in the same way that we adapted and started using Microsoft Word and Excel, right, to help track and measure data and to write and all that stuff, right? So there's some tools out there for sure too, and we'll continue to dig into some of that here in a little bit as well too, as we go to kind of the next phase of this after highlighting what those trends are. So next, I want to talk about 5 actionable strategies to help boost your online presence. So here's 5 things that I would suggest that you work on and take a look at doing right now within whatever your strategy is, whether it's growing a content blog type platform, small business, online business, whatever. So here are 5 things that we want to take a look at. The first one is to optimize your website for speed, mobile, and UX. And if you're not familiar with that term UX, that means user experience, right? and this is why it matters, right? Because first impressions matter. When people land on your website, it needs to be able to load well, not only on desktop but also on mobile. And then here's the thing: the mobile experience may need to look different than what your desktop experience does. And that's for speed factors, but that's also for a mobile factor. One thing that's really cool about this, though, too, is that we do a lot of website development using the Divi theme, and the Divi theme has capability where I can say, "Hey, on desktop, I want to show everything here, but when it loads on mobile, hide this piece because it just doesn't add value on the mobile screen and stuff too." So you can start to kind of customize that experience really within the same development mode as you're building your website. And that helps with things like speed. It helps that user experience that they're not trying to clunk in all this desktop level type stuff onto a mobile screen and stuff. So, but speed matters. How fast the website load matters. People tend to be very impatient and will bounce. Right? They'll hit your page and leave if it takes more than a couple seconds for it to load up. So you need to be looking at those things, making sure that you're on good hosting platforms, and then things like images and stuff like that are designed well. This is also where I think one of the big things that impacts how I tend to look at websites, doing a lot of WordPress maintenance, is that plugins on websites are great when they add functionality, but they're horrible as it relates to adjusting for speed. So the more plugins you have on your website, then the slower it's going to load, because you're just adding a whole bunch of extra code and stuff like that too that a browser has to deal with and sort out. So my recommendation is that I love to see a website if it has maybe somewhere around 10 plugins, is kind of an ideal. I know that's not always possible, and some plugins are good because they actually enhance performance and speed and stuff too. So kind of take those into consideration as well too. Definitely not more than 20 is kind of a high end for me. I've had people come to me with over 40 plugins on their website, wondering why it's loading slow. And it's like, well, we need to spend some time just kind of breaking this down and going through that. So your action item for this one is to test your speed with Google PageSpeed Insights, and look for the ways that you can fix it and stuff too. We do at Fist Bump Media have a service where I'll run PageSpeed Insights and stuff for you and point out exactly where the speed issues are for your website. And then we have a service too, if you'd like us to actually implement some speed improvements for you. I can go through and actually hammer that stuff out and help get your website running much smoother for you as well too. Just check the WordPress maintenance and support page on our website for more information about the page speed optimization service. The next actionable strategy that we want to take a look at then is to leverage long tail keywords to capture targeted traffic. So why does this matter? And what is a long tail keyword? And what the long tail keyword is basically when you're doing a search, and I can do a search for WordPress, right? And that's a big keyword with a lot of people competing for it. But using the example just talking about what we just talked about, if I'm looking for WordPress page speed optimization, then that's a little bit longer tail keyword. It's still a pretty big one, but we're getting closer there too. But then think about what we talked about in the trends with how people are using voice search and things like that more often. There might be a question of like, hey, the device, how can I optimize my WordPress website for better speed, page speed, right? So that's a long search term, and they're basically asking a question. So there's ways to find those long tail keywords. There are tools out there, and this is another place where the AI comes handy to have an AI tool like ChatGPT help conduct that research for you and stuff too. But those long tail keywords, they tend not to get as high of a search volume as, say, somebody searching just for WordPress, but it does it does actually still get quite a bit of volume, and they tend to be a lot easier to rank for, right? So if I'm building content on my website that's targeting that full question, how to optimize a WordPress website for page speed or something like that, then I can actually target very specific traffic, right? So it's actually a much more convertible type traffic than somebody just searching for WordPress. WordPress maybe get all the volume, but it makes sense to even target keywords, long tail keywords like that might get lower volume. That'll be easier for you to rank for. But also more qualified to convert for the type of work that you need. So there's a lot less competition out there for that, and much better targeting. As far as what you can do, so actionable items for this, you can use tools. There's tools like Uber Suggest, like I said, ChatGPT out there. I use bigger SEO type tools like SEMrush to help me identify and use some of those long tail keywords. And you can use those long term keywords or long tail keywords to do things like find blog post topics, right? If you see a question, you feel like you can answer that question really well, that's a great topic for a blog post, right? Because then that content gets your voice out there, and the way search engines are starting to go to the zero-click strategy and stuff too, and maybe use AI to summarize the results and stuff too. Your result can be in there if you're answering a question really well. It's the kind of stuff that the AI and the search engines is actually looking for to help produce the answers that they produce. So next is number 3: build a consistent social media plan. So why does this matter? Social media is really, it's changed a lot, right? I said that I've been blogging for my 18-year blog anniversary coming up here in just a couple of weeks. And man, there was a day when I used to be able to write a blog post and go out on the social media and drop it out there, and then all the traffic would start flooding into my website, and people would share it and stuff like that too. And it's just not like that anymore, right? You start running through a couple really toxic election cycles and stuff like that too, and then the way people use social media starts to change. Okay, the algorithms start to change. In how tools like Facebook used to be just a straight up feed, right? I followed a bunch of people, and whenever any of those people would post, it would be there in my feed, right? And that's not so today. So whether you're running content from like a brand page, a business page, or an author page or something like that, or your personal profile, you're still algorithmed out sometimes based on the social media algorithms trying to figure out how they put stuff that's going to keep other people on their page. And if they don't see your content as being that, then it's not going to include it too. But social media still has an important place in the online presence and in the marketing plans and stuff. And one of the biggest things with that too is that the consistency, right? And that's the key here too, to build a consistent social media plan. The consistency is what drives the visibility and the trust, right? It's the brands that I see that I work with that are consistently posting on a regular basis are the ones that are seeing the most success with it. You actually work against yourself with the algorithms. If you post 3 times here and then wait 2 weeks and then post something else later on and stuff too. And then I see those types of people complain that social media is not working for them. They're not getting the clicks, and of course you're not getting the clicks. You're not doing a consistent plan. So that consistency really helps the algorithms quite a bit. I've even seen some things like considering the LinkedIn algorithm, that before you share something, for about 15 minutes before you share it, and share it manually possibly is the best, right? But 15 minutes before you share something, go around and comment and like on other people's posts, share your content, and then 15 minutes after that, go around and click and like and share or comment on other people's posts. And that kind of activity actually spurs the algorithm that your content is going to actually show up a little bit more too. But really, again, a lot of it just gets down to, there are tactics and things like that you can do to try to work the algorithms. But the biggest factor is going to be that consistent plan. So your tip for this one is to plan weekly content, schedule it out, plan it out. I like to use tools like CoSchedule is one of my favorite ones, because not only is it a social media scheduling calendar, but I can connect in things like my MailChimp or my HubSpot or whatever it is, whatever tools I'm using, and it will show me on there things like when I send an email campaign out to people, to a certain email list. I connect it into my blog, into my website, and it picks up. I have a new blog post scheduled to publish on this day or whatever too. And then when I publish that blog post, I can build a social media campaign related to that blog post in the tool that says, hey, on the first day, share this on these platforms at this time with these posts. In a week, I want you to share it again. In a month, I want you to share it again and stuff too. So you can build a whole social media plan even around your content too through a tool like CoSchedule. This is why it's one of my favorites. It's extremely well integrated across platforms. It takes in consideration the whole digital plan and not just the social media. Excuse me. All right. So next up is to grow and nurture your email list. Listen, I think email is kind of a funny thing. It's getting harder these days to actually grow your email list, but there are some tactics and strategies and things like that you can do to help you grow your email list. Actually, I have a free e-course at academy.fistbumpmedia.com about how to grow your email list, and it's a quick, simple little kind of 5-day little lesson challenge on and growing and nurturing your email list, and suggest you check that out at academy.fistbumpmedia.com. But this is important because email is really one of the highest ROI, the return on investment tools that you can find across digital media and digital marketing and stuff. I think I consistently see the best return on time and investment coming through email when I use it well. And what I mean by that is it's not so much just like I have a whole big email list and I'm going to blast everything out to the whole email list all the time. That doesn't always work, right? So I try to find ways where how can I segment my list? So at Fist Bump Media, for example, I've got really two big groups of clients that we serve, and we've got the writer blogger community, and we've got small businesses, and sometimes communications cross over where something applies to everybody. Sometimes stuff applies more to our writers and bloggers and may not be as quite of an interest to small business, and vice versa, right? So I find ways that I can segment my list and try to push appropriate communications to that list, because here's the thing with email is that you think of social media, it's a full out blast to everybody, but email is a direct one-to-one kind of communication. So even if you're on a list of 1 million people, if I send you an email to that list, you are getting a communication directly from me, and you can reply back to that and get directly back to me, right? So it's a very direct form of communication. So anywhere you can kind of build in segmentation and customization and stuff like that too, to really kind of nurture the list and not just feed them content all the time. Then you can find some big wins there as well too. The big actionable tip there is to think about lead magnets and even customizing lead magnets. I've done some stuff where I've created a lead magnet that is super relevant for one big case study blog post that we have. And really, that's the only place you're going to find it, right? If you're on that blog post, I'm going to present you and say, hey, boom, here's a pop-up that says you might like this resource, this PDF. Download this and get these tips, right? And that way that I'm capturing that list. But that's also giving me some information about how I segment that customer and stuff like that as well too. So think of ways that you might be able to work lead magnets in different ways, different types of lead magnets. And I also like too that once they're on your list, one of my favorite things to do is set up an automated welcome email sequence. So even for a blog, one of the things that I've done is if somebody is brand new subscribing to my blog, I like to send them a welcome email sequence that introduces them to some of the top best blog posts that I've had, maybe in different categories from the past, right? So it's a great way to just, they're not just subscribing and starting to get new information, but I'm kind of pointing them to, is like, hey, if you subscribe because of this, you might actually like this content too. So check out these top 5 blog posts in this category or whatever. So great way, but whatever that looks like, a good automated welcome email sequence is a great way to leverage out stuff to improve that relationship. And then the next one, number 5, is to create short form video content to drive engagement. And we hit this in the trends a little bit, the popularity of the short form video content, but platforms like Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, they dominate. And there is a growing trend in more of this type of content getting out there and actually influencing people. But think about, have a plan, and again, think about that consistent social media plan about how you produce short form video content, like a minute, 2 minute, kind of thing that you put out there. And it's easy even to batch your development, right? You can sit down and if you're doing 1 minute video shorts on different ideas or topics or themes or whatever, it's easy to sit down and batch produce that stuff and take 15 minutes sitting in front of your phone and just recording, boom, 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 boom. Here's a couple, 1 minute videos on these ideas, and then schedule that up and put it out there so you can put it out there on a consistent basis. I've seen where platforms like YouTube like to see short form video content like on a daily basis, and then maybe a little bit longer form content maybe once a week or so, right? But you could tell that even the way their algorithms are working is favoring and giving more notice to that short form video content. But you can put that out there and share it across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if you're into that, and YouTube. But put it out there, and then again, I think one of the big things too is where you're putting it and everything. To measure to see what's having the biggest impact. But yeah, batch create quick, value-packed videos that showcase your expertise. And in fact, I can even use long-form video like this, right? I'm building a longer webinar. I may clip out shorter 1 minute clips of this and post those as tips for some of that quick value-packed video for short-form video post in other places. All right. So with that, I want to take a second too to just talk about what it means to look, or what it looks like to get real results with some of these strategies. And I know one of them may be watching too, but I actually just had a conversation with a client recently who had been working through our How to SEO a Blog e-course, also found at academy.fistbumpmedia.com. And she was telling me about how implementing the strategies that we were doing for that we were teaching in that program, how she essentially tripled her traffic over the last year, which is really incredible. And I think as we kind of talk through some of those strategies and what she was doing and what still could be done, there was still a lot of opportunity for even more growth, right? So it's really taken a few key strategies that she was able to pull out and glean from that course, work on implementing those on a regular basis and stuff too, and she really started to see a lot of the big growth. And I think that's one of the big keys, that as we look at the strategies that we're talking about, don't feel like you need to say, oh, okay, Dan just blasted me with a whole bunch of information and I need to do all these things if I'm going to see any success. And that's not the case, right? I think the big key here is, I'll pull the strategies back up. I think the big key here is as we look at these things like optimizing your website for speed, mobile, and UX, leveraging long tail keywords, consistent social media plan, grow and nurture your email list, and short form video content. Pick one or two of those to start with, right? And start to work on those consistently within your plan to help you find and achieve the growth that you're looking for. And then as it makes sense, right, then start to build in more of that content, or more of these strategies into what you're doing, right? So maybe for example, you start to build a consistent social media plan. You're doing that, right? But maybe not so much with the short form video content yet, right? You get the consistency with your social media plan, and then as it makes sense to start producing that content, then start building that out, right? So, and then I think, all right. And then with that, I think here's the next big thing, right? Is listen, with all of this stuff, it might be exciting, but it might be overwhelming to think about how to put all these strategies into action. But the big thing is, I want to let you know is that you're not alone, right? We do at Fist Bump Media also have ways to help and support you. We can do a lot of personalized coaching. We've mentioned several of our e-courses and content stuff, and we're going to continue to produce those in force throughout this year. So check out academy.fistbumpmedia.com to see what we have in our e-course library and what we're adding on a regular basis. But one of the biggest things that we're doing a lot more of this year too is building out different types of coaching programs and stuff too. So we'll have be launching really soon some really great group coaching where we'll get together on a regular basis and we'll talk through different things, and you can bring up your stuff, but we'll be part of a group so we can kind of also learn from each other and what's working for some people and what's working for others. And then I've got some more one-on-one coaching type stuff too, where I will meet with you and review your data and your analytics and your plans and stuff too, and help you build and craft the strategy. And if you need us to help with some of that, we can certainly help with some of that. But the big thing is that I don't want you to feel like you're alone in any of this. If you need help, then here's your solution. Schedule a free discovery call. I will take and give you a free 30-minute call just to talk through where you're at, what solutions might make the most sense for you. I'm always happy to help kind of figure out and work with whatever might work for you budget wise and time wise and all of that stuff. But the discovery call will be the way to do that. And you can do that by just going to fistbump.media/discovery. And that'll get you to a booking page where you can schedule a free 30-minute call with me. Get on there, grab that time, and let's talk. Right? Let's talk about what might help you out the most. And there's no obligation for that either. Too, just so you know, I'm not a big high pressure sales guy or anything like that. So I'm not going to try to force you into some kind of plan. Happy to help in whatever way makes sense, whether it's pointing to free content and e-courses that we have, or going all in on big one-on-one stuff. With that, I just want to say thank you. Go book that call, fistbump.media/discovery, and I hope that you have a fantastic 2025. And let us know if you have any questions or need help with anything. And boom, there's a big fist bump for you.